I love discounting. I've talked about this on other podcasts. Trade dollars for speed all day long. Greatest thing about SaaS is every year there's an opportunity to win or lose, right?
I love that line.
So I just try to get as many customers in the boat as possible because customers give you feedback. Customers give you brand multiplication. Customers give you an understanding of what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And so like I would take a deal right now where I gave someone $3 and they gave me back $2. Like I have no problem with that. Now, listen.
Is this thing on?
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I haven't had this much fun recording a podcast in a while. Welcome back to the Run the Numbers podcast, where today we're running them back with Ethan Schechter. Ethan's the SVP of Sales and Customer Success at Kodo, and if you've been around the B2B SaaS world, you probably know him as the guy who helped scale Snyk's revenue from 0 to over 100 million. Now he's back at Basecamp. He's talking early days, early bets, and yes, early mornings with less battery life because all you do is over-communicate with your team. In this episode, we go deep into the minds of a sales expert. What it's like to start over as a sales leader and why he counts time in quarters, not years. What he means by the smile and cry days. He cracks me up. Hiring in a new org, do you bring in the old band or build fresh? And what he looks for now that he's on his second major go around as a venture-backed sales exec. Actually, it's like his third or fourth. Comp plans, discounting, convincing a sales team to chase a huge number when the path is anything but obvious. Thanks for helping convince him, Ethan. His perspective on internal champions, over communication, and how to create momentum when you're building from scratch. And yes, if you stick around for nothing else, we go deep on LinkedIn, the good, the bad, and especially the cringe, including guilty pleasures like the humble brag disaster posts, suspect ARR math, and Brits to say whilst. Whether you're a revenue leader plotting your next act or just here for the sales tea, Ethan brings the playbook and the punchlines. This guy's hilarious. All this and much, much more after a short word from our sponsors. This episode of Run the Numbers is brought to you by Navan, the all-in-one travel and expense solution. CFOs and finance leaders, let's be honest here. Your T&E process is broken. Manual reconciliations waste valuable time, policy violations drain money, and limited visibility creates unnecessary risk. Nobody likes that. Navan cuts through these problems, giving finance teams the clarity and control needed to close with confidence, faster and with fewer headaches. Connect your existing eligible Visa, MasterCard, or American Express cards directly to Navan and keep all your card rewards and banking relationships. Get real-time expense tracking, automated policy enforcement, and AI-powered reconciliation that works. Companies like Anthropic, Unilever, and Zoom trust Navan to manage travel spend smarter and increase compliance. Are you ready to modernize your T&E process? Visit navan.com/runthenumbers for your demo today. That's navan.com/runthenumbers. Tell them CJ sent you. They'll hook you up. Morgan Stanley recently said NetSuite is under the threat of disruption. That's right. NetSuite, the you never get fired for buying its software. So what's the threat? The answer, Rillet. Rillet is the AI native ERP modern finance teams are switching to because it's faster, simpler, and 100% built for how teams operate today. It doesn't take 12 months to implement, it doesn't feel like filing taxes to use, and your accounting team will actually love it. PostScript closes the books in only 3 days. Windsurf, bet you heard of them, they run finance with just 2 people. And Rillet is backed by Sequoia Capital. Yes, that's Sequoia. Unicorns like PostScript and Windsurf and hundreds of other companies have made the switch, and they're closing books in record time. If I were running a finance team today, I wouldn't default to legacy. I'd look at what's coming next, and Rillet is here. You don't want to be that guy at cocktail parties complaining about how bad his ERP is. Wait, am I the only guy who talks about ERPs around a keg? See how fast your team can move. Book a demo at rillet.com/metrics. That's RILLET.com/metrics. RILLET.com/metrics. As a CFO, you're expected to bring clarity to everything, including how your company manages ownership. The tools you use should make that easier, not harder. But when they come with hidden fees, data you can't always trust, and support you can't rely on, you end up with more frustration than clarity. That's where Pulley comes in. Pulley is the cap table management platform built for finance leaders who need accurate, decision-ready data from a system that works for your business, not against it. With Pulley, you get intuitive workflows, audit-ready reporting, and support you can count on, all backed by predictable pricing you can plan around. so you can stay compliant and make smarter decisions about your company's future. Manage everything from fundraise modeling to ASC 718 reporting to custom liquidity programs, all on one trusted platform. Hundreds of high-growth companies like Linear, Fathom, and Runway trust Pulley to help turn ownership into a strategic advantage. And joining them is now easier than ever. You can switch to Pulley in as little as 5 days. And for a limited time, they're offering 25% off your first year. To claim your exclusive offer, visit pulley.com/mostlymetrics. That is pulley.com/mostlymetrics. Pulley.com/mostlymetrics. Ethan, welcome back to the Run the Numbers podcast.
CJ, thank you for having me. Repeat guest. I am honored. I am honored. This isn't the first repeat guest, is it?
We've had one of the co-founders of Netflix has been on a couple times, but your resume is way more impressive than his.
Yeah.
And since having you on, we've 10x listenership. So you were the start of something truly great.
So it's me and the founder of Netflix, basically in the two-time club. So I'm very excited to hear that. Thank you for having me back on.
So just to get people up to speed, we worked together at a fast-growing cybersecurity company called Snyk in Boston for 3 years together.
Yes.
And you have recently, I mean, you're it's like started from the bottom. Now we're going back to the bottom to build it back up, right, baby?
Yes, that is the case. My background, as you know, we kind of highlighted in my first episode for anyone who wants to go back to listen, is a history of early stage sales leadership. And most notably, obviously, before coming to Kodo, where I am now, I was at Snyk for 7 years. Love Snyk, left on very good terms. Still rooting actively for those folks over there, but had that itch, and joined Kodo, a AI developer platform. You know, really attacking the speed versus quality conundrum in software development 5 weeks ago. And so reached out to you and said, "Man, we got to do another episode because I haven't been back in the mud in quite some time." And it's been exciting and a fun thing to talk about, I think.
You're my favorite early stage sales leader. You're my favorite sales leader, point blank, that I've ever gotten to work with. We had some fun times during hyper growth. It was kind of a lot of this back and forth too, where like as a finance guy, you're not always welcomed like into the sales org, but like you were always really cool to me. And there was always that tension. Like I was going to give you a number, try to assign you a number. You were going to have to look at me and be like, this is pretty aggressive. Yeah. But like you were always a really good sport about like getting everybody on your team like totally bought in about like where the org had to go.
I'm so like, if you're going to go do early stage, I think you have to be driven by building something amazing, you know, making a dent in the universe. But when you want to talk about economics, it's all about the equity and it's all about driving value in the company. And the number that you spit out is one that's going to drive value into the company, right? And I think you've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable with that. And that doesn't mean you don't make asks back to finance or to your boss, the CEO, or whoever you're reporting to about what you need to get there. But look, if we're not going for giant goals, we're definitely not going to make a dent in the universe. And then two, we're probably not in a place where our equity is growing as fast as we would like it to. And as you mentioned, your team, you got to get people to understand that. You got to get people thinking not just about their W-2 in sales, but also their equity, for sure.
And I remember like you really understood early on that like if we were to go out and close, I'm just using round numbers here, $100,000 deal, like a rep could get excited about potentially making 10 grand on that or something, 10% commission. Yeah. But like it's way more meaningful to the company and to get everybody pumped up that like if the company's technically trading at 10x, like that's $1 million in equity value.
Yeah.
Or an enterprise value to the company.
I really like getting people to understand that. And I really like getting people to understand what equity can do for them in their lives. Like one thing I always say is like, it's going to be, you know, I'm going to push you. It might be hard working for me because I'm going to expect a lot, but everyone who works for me has houses, right? And that's kind of a mindset of like, again, big W-2s are great. I love big W-2s. I'm not knocking anyone who's driven by that, but like, you know, I've always looked at it as like, hey, can I get a whole W-2 every 3 to 5 years from equity? And what can that do for me and my family and like stability long-term in my life? And so I'm very motivated by that. And I look to try to educate people on what that can be, because to your point, A lot of sales reps, again, they're explained their commission plan. They're not necessarily explained what that can do for them in their life.
That's a soundbite right there. Everybody's got houses.
Everyone's got houses. Amanda Parks. Shout out to Amanda Parks. She's got
multiple houses, yeah. I bet.
I'm trying to be like her.
Let's talk about that Basecamp mindset, because you are building a team from the ground up. And I mean, like, I just want to, you're a humble guy, but like you've grown sales orgs from basically low single digit millions, maybe it was actually zero, to hundreds of millions of dollars. Like you're choosing to go back down the mountain and say, let's try to climb up it again. Yeah. How's your mindset shift?
Yeah. So I came up with this concept of Basecamp. And this even works during a regular sales year. A sales year, you start, it's Q1, there's kickoff, it's a little bit slow, and then you get the exciting first end of quarter finish and the second quarter finish, and it all kind of accumulates at the end of the year where it's like you're reaching the top of the mountain, right? And you're gonna that last close, that last end of quarter, it's awesome. It's most sales leaders have some form of adrenaline junkie in them, and I include myself in that camp. But what you don't start to think about is on the other side of that mountain is you got to go back down to Basecamp. And what I started to do through my career is like start to really think about that as you came to that end of the year, because I felt like if I could win when it got at Basecamp, like when I had to go back down and it's January 5th and everyone's still hungover from New Year's, and like, can you win those weeks? Can you win that month? Because now you got to get right back up into it and you're climbing a new mountain. And so I would start to talk to my leaders and my sales reps about that. And I would like visualizing it to the point of like, we're going to be down in the parking lot, rolling out the tents and the oxygen lines and getting like our carabiners organized, because we got to get ready to go right back up that mountain. And I found that especially the reps and leaders you might have who really like they could fall into a lull after that big rush of the end of the year. If you got them visualizing that, if you got them thinking about that, they had a better chance to get right back out and be successful. And you just got to, so I feel like I'm back at the ultimate Basecamp, which is, you're starting with, I was lucky enough here to inherit a really strong sales leader and two great reps to start, but we're out in the parking lot rolling out tents, and you got to go for that with as much passion as you do when we have 10x pipeline and we're going to blow our number out by 150%. I don't think you get to that if you don't approach that early start with the same passion.
This may be a weird question, Ethan, but is anything actually easier because there isn't a ton built yet?
I want to say God, no. That was what I was initially going to say. But no, I think you can make the right longer term scale plan early, because it's very easy to disseminate that plan. It's very easy to get everyone on board with that plan, and it's very easy to roll out that plan. There's no red tape. So, one of the first things I've done here at Kodo is, what is our ROE? Like, what is our rules of engagement? Not that we need very structured rules of engagement, but let's have everyone on the team collaborate on that. Let's have everyone agree to it. I kind of use a framework of like collaborate, document, educate, go. So it's like, all work up, hey, we want to just make rules of the road. Now that we have 7 people in sales, what are our rules of the road around lead routing, around who gets what accounts? How do inbound leads get disseminated? How do we forecast? What's the cadence on that? And you get everyone to contribute, so everyone feels like it's their document. Then we make a Word doc with it. And by the way, with where AI is now, I mean, I'm like writing outlines because I love writing outlines with AI, because they will make an outline that looks like you spent 3 hours on it in 10 minutes. So you document it, you educate everyone in the sales org, you educate, the wider executive team, and you put it in like a shared folder. And now you're like, we're going to go. We don't have to spend any more time on that because everyone understands what that process is. And now we can run really fast. So I find that easier, right? Like that part is easy. And I like to get people addicted to that kind of cadence of let's document just enough of our process so that there isn't confusion. And then we can run really fast, because agility is always going to be our biggest strength at this point, right?
Hey, thanks for listening. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Well, if you've listened to this podcast before, you definitely know that I think it's cool to be a fan of business. I'm obsessed with researching how the best companies operate, and specifically how they manage their money. And I've learned that a company's financial stack can make the difference between world domination and obscurity. That's why I want to tell you about Brex, because I want you to rule the world. Brex is an impressive financial services and software company that has grown immensely since it was founded in 2017. In just the last year alone, Brex accelerated customer acquisition by 50%, with 91% growth in enterprise customers. And there's good reason that over 30,000 companies from startups to enterprises have flocked to Brex. Brex offers the world's smartest corporate card on a full-stack global platform that is everything CFOs need to manage their finances on an elite level. Plus, they offer modern banking and treasury, as well as intuitive expenses and accounting automation, bill pay, and travel. Wow, it's all on the roster whenever you need it. Brex grows with you. CFOs tell me all the time that Brex makes it easy to control spend before it happens, automate annoying tasks, and optimize their finances. Because listen, at the end of the day, Brex helps them make every dollar count. So if you're a fan of smart businesses too, check out Brex at brex.com/metrics. That's brex.com/metrics. So if you listen to this podcast, you'll know that I am incredibly passionate about the FP&A space because that's the route I went to get to CFO. And I want to tell you about a tool that has exploded over the past few years. It's called Aleph. And I remember getting outbounded by them about 2.5 years ago, and I actually took the bait because they claimed to be able to do a demo with my live data, with me right there on the call. And so I had to see it to believe it. And it was the founder running demos back then. Shout out Albert, hope you're listening. And he connected my NetSuite and built my P&L using their Excel add-in in like 15 minutes. And I was really impressed. Since then, Aleph has gone on to raise money from some of the top VCs out there, and they've built an impressive roster of customers. Many of their customers have been on the podcast, like the CFO at Turo, 8 Sleep, and Zapier. They're all really big champions and supporters of Aleph like me. But it's not just an Excel add-in. Aleph also allows finance teams to work with their live cross-system data using Google Sheets and their web app. And that's cool because it gives teams the option to support a wide range of needs and workflows like budgeting, forecasting, and variance analysis. And speaking of variance analysis, they're doing some really cool things with AI-powered variance analysis. It basically allows you to figure out what's going on and why, and it takes the time that you'd usually spend from hours to minutes. It's really cool. So I highly recommend checking them out and taking them up on that demo or trial, just like I did back in the day. And you can learn more and get started at getaleph.com/run. That is getaleph.com, aleph.com/run. Tell them CJ sent you. All right, I got to get up on my soapbox for a sec here. Everybody's talking about AI powered this and automated that. But here's the thing about revenue recognition. It's not just about moving data around. It's about getting it right, full stop. So RightRev is laser focused on one thing, RevRec that auditors actually trust. See, there's a difference between automating revenue processes and automating revenue recognition correctly. RightRev was actually built by the godfather of RevRec, who understands ASC 606 compliance, audit controls, data validation, and the flexibility needed for complex B2B contracts. We're not trying to be your billing system or your ERP. We're the revenue recognition engine that sits between your contracts and your financials, making sure every dollar is recognized correctly, on time, every time. Companies like Snowflake and Logic Monitor don't just need fast revenue reporting, they need revenue reporting that's audit ready from day one. And that's honestly where RightRev shines. And what I love about RightRev is they're not out there trying to be everything to everyone and just slap some, AI slop on top of it. While everyone is building these massive platforms that do everything in a kind of mediocre fashion, RightRev does one thing exceptionally well. They make sure your revenue recognition is bulletproof. Ready to stop gambling with your RevRec? Visit RightRev.com to see how we make complex revenue simple. That's RightRev.com, where revenue recognition actually works. It is fun to have the chance to shape it kind of in the form that you want it to, because you know what great looks like at scale and at velocity. And you're at that point where you've got a tailwind. How do you make sure that it's shaped the right way?
I agree with that. I also think you get that shot to fix the biggest 3 mistakes you made at your last place that you've been thinking about for 4 years.
Yeah, we all have them.
And you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. And now you're like, I'm not going to do that again. And I can cross that off the list right away, right? So yeah, I think that is fun. It's awesome. Look, the first year, it's like what I've realized is the first year is just the most intense part, and it's a lot of smiles and it's a lot of cries, and you got to let that stuff just wash over you.
Well, The smile and cry days, what are those?
Yeah, like, look, there's days you're going to leave and you're like, we are going to be the next Google. It has happened. Look,
I saw Jensen gave you guys a shout out.
NVIDIA may have just given us some great publicity on LinkedIn that they are a big fan of Codo's context-aware AI engine. Thank you for noting.
That's a smile day.
Yeah, that's a smile day. That's a smile day. And then there's days where like I may have made, I don't know what decision I made, and this is scary. Like what, this is, man, like, did that really just happen? Did this person really say that this product isn't going to be ready like we said it would be for this big customer for 9 months, but they think it's coming in 3 days? Like things like that. And you just got to it's like the tide. You got to let the tide like wash you out to sea. You can't fight it. And sometime about a year in, you kind of wake up and everything's kind of worked out. Is what has happened to me, knock on wood, at my last few of these. So you got to try to not attach too much energy to either one of those two types of days, because one can either make you way too optimistic and not paranoid enough, and the other can make you just not fun to work with because you're like, oh my God, what is going on, right? And so that's something that I've kind of realized about myself. And I've also realized just generally in teams at startups, a lot of what I talk about my team is like, it's all right. We'll fix that. We'll fix that. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a nasty one. Well, we'll fix it. We'll get there. And you gotta talk about that a lot,
And part of your job is like getting people to their spot on the court, right? I know you love basketball, but it's like you're building teams from the ground up here. And I think you got to do your best to make it to insulate them from some of the shit that you have to put up with, but also keep them in good spirits.
I think over communication early on is super key, and really understanding how the people working for you are feeling is super key. And so I probably make a lot more like just random, I'm calling you, just saying like, hey, how's it going? Or, hey, sorry, we put all of the leads you got from your conference into an SDR cadence, and now they've all been contacted, even though you had specific follow-ups that you wanted to do. Sorry, that
my bad.
I understand that is super frustrating, and like we got to be better the next time that happens. And I think, look, all you can do as a leader is like raise your hand and be accountable when things go wrong, and tell people like, look, we're going to fix them. It might not be fixed as quickly as you want to fix them, but we will. And then on the flip side, when things are going well, you got to celebrate like crazy, right? You gotta really push every success to everyone on your team so that they feel that, right? I think that's critical.
So you're on the phone a lot internally too.
Yes, tons. Internal. I am customer obsessed. I want to be in front of my net new prospects, my customers, as much as I possibly can be. But internal communication early on is critical. Like we do not have the luxury of having misunderstandings or frustrations internally. We've got to like clean those up immediately.
I think it's also important to tell people to over communicate that you're going to be over communicating, because people can get paranoid. Like, is he actually just calling to check in and see how I'm feeling and things are going? Or is he like searching for something that's wrong here?
I even say like, hey, like the first time I'll do it to someone, and also generally I do try to, especially early on, hire people who I am comfortable with, who are comfortable with my style, who know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But those that don't, like who I'm working with the first time I do it, I'll even say like, hey, CJ, is it all right that I just called you like this? Like is that, I just find it easier to like, just cut through and get right to it. Is that like good? And I haven't yet had someone be like, no, I don't appreciate that. I don't know how I would handle that if that's the case. But I do think people appreciate that you're acknowledging that you're doing it. And I'll just say, hey, if you're busy or something's going on, I'll tell you if something's urgent. Like, you don't have to pick up, right? Like, but I always want to have that kind of precedent that we can call each other, and vice versa. They should feel comfortable calling me anytime, right? Because again, that communication is critical.
So you need not only warm bodies, but like people that can sell a shit ton of software, warm bodies. I'm always coming at it from the finance angle, Ethan, of like, we have a sales capacity model. We need butts and seats now in order to ramp them so they can sell stuff. But like from your perspective, sales leader, what's it like hiring for a new org?
So I love hiring. I love recruiting. I've told many people, I think I was a recruiter
You think you're a better closer for talent than you are software, maybe?
I just love it, dude. I love it. It gives me the same exact buzz as closing a deal. Let's just say that. So, and I'm passionate about people. Like one of the huge, kind of like qualitative rewards of doing this and being in this kind of VC or PE driven kind of like madhouse is the amazing people you meet, right? And like the relationships you build. I am obsessed with being around like interesting people, right? So I love that process. I think the thing you learn, and it was, again, I learned it again here, is like you've got to remind yourself that as much as like the executive team has made a commitment to hire you and give you carte blanche and enable you, they don't know you. Like you can't,
wait, say more about this. This is important.
I spent a lot of time with Itamar Friedman, our amazing founder and CEO.
Yeah.
But like that's a bunch of Zoom calls in 2 days in New York before you start. And you can't discount, like you've been working at this team with Snyk for 7 years, or prior to that, I was at a company Zero Turnaround for 6 years. Like they just know you can't. And I think sometimes I'm guilty of like, okay, we're going to do it like we always do it. Let's go to it. And rightfully so. They're a little bit like, whoa, like, what do you mean? Like,
but this is our first rodeo.
yeah. Or you just gotta remind people of that. And so, I have a great partner in our chief people officer, Sarit at Kodo, but we have spent a lot of time in the, prior to me starting and since starting, getting to understand each other's way we see the world and how we interpret things and how what we value, et cetera. And then I think the thing you got, like, I always go for really, really strong talent early on, because you need that first group of 5 to 10 to 15 people to be like your executive team within the sales org. Like they need to be builders. They need to be people who are going to come with their own ideas and innovate processes, et cetera. And I think the side benefit of that is they are impressive people. And ideally, once they come in and your new teammates who don't really know you yet, they're going to see like, okay, this person is going to hire really quality people that I would want to be around. Like, I think that is a very important thing. Not that I would ever not hire quality people that we want to be around, but I may later on have the luxury of working with finance and saying, let's hire some entry level people because they're lower cost and we're going to be able to ramp them up and things like that. That's important to have that too and have that growth from within culture. But very early on, I always look for experience and really high end talent.
Well, to your point, though, it's so important to get those first 5 to 10 hires right, because those 5 to 10 people are going to hire the next 50 to 100 people.
And they have such an outsized impact on what the results are going to be early, because they're just going to have the ball in their hands, right? To use a basketball metaphor, as you noted, like these are the people you don't have a 30-person bench, right? You have 5 people, you have 7 people, so you need really accountable, accomplished people who are going to be able to achieve great things, right? Like I think that's super important.
This wasn't on the call sheet that we came up with, but you have a knack for working with founders as a first-time sales leader. Yeah. Like what goes into like making that relationship great? Because the founder a lot of times has been the one who's been selling up until that point.
Same thing, over communication. Like I broken record on that theme, but constant communication, constantly talking with them, constantly making sure they understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and why, hey, I'm going to do this in this meeting, but just so you know, it's intentional so that we'll get this reaction and we'll be able to change something.
That's the inside baseball. Okay.
Yeah, I do a lot. And I think he knows I'm doing it. So I don't think I'm previewing anything, because I've said that to him. It's like, I want to make sure he understands my intent for doing things, not having to just process them as I'm doing it. Right. Like, I think that's super important, and vice versa. Like, I'm going to have a lot of questions, and I'm going to have a lot of like, hey, why do we do things this way? Or why are we doing it that way? Or like, hey, this process, who's it owned by? I'll go meet with those people so I know them as well. So I think he sees the intent, or any founder sees the intent, that I'm really here to like learn the culture of the company, not just to steamroll. Like, this is what I do. Back to the recruiting. Like, I think, I need to make sure I'm not just saying like, well, this is exactly what I want to do, and so I'm going to do it that way. Like, every company is going to be different. Every culture is going to be different. You've got to adapt, and you bring the stuff that will work, but you also should take from what's already there and is great, right?
To piggyback on what you're saying, like, You're obviously hired because you're very good at implementing a playbook, but you have to modify that playbook to the org and the product that you're given. You can't just like brute force it.
100%. I think this is true for sales reps. I think this is true for sales managers. I think leaders. I think this is probably true for finance people. You can't going to a new job is a skill, because you really have to have the discipline to say, in the first, 1 to 3 months or whatever amount of time it is, I am going to be an open book, and I am not going to just start doing the things that worked at Snyk, because the worst thing that can happen is it's a totally different thing that will work here. And all of a sudden, right out of the gate, I've had a bunch of misses. And now the sales team under me is like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, or he's running a playbook that doesn't work. I think you really have to be open to what's being done and learn it. And then you can start layering in the things from your past job that you now know will work here, because you've taken the time to really get an understanding of what's going on. I think that's critical.
Ethan, I want to talk about incentives and outcomes. Me and you have talked about this ad nauseum in WeWorks all across Boston before, but just to bring it to the pod.
You're still grappling with spiffs, aren't you?
Every night I just lay awake at night. I just think about spiffs. You just don't know. I think about the nightmare of trying to send watches to your team one time, and the accounting team saying like, this has to be a taxable event.
Yeah. That
was terrible. Well, how do incentives drive outcomes?
Give me an example, or give me a little more there.
I want to talk about incentives in the context of a good commission plan versus a bad commission plan, because in many ways, like, you have a big equity outcome at stake.
Yeah.
But you also want to close the quarter. And you also want to have customers that continue to renew, because it makes everybody's job easier if you get the best customer on board. I think there's an incentive at early orgs to just sell the shit out of whatever the customer will take, but you have to have that long-term vision, or like, am I incentivizing a higher lifetime value customer here?
So I'll say something that's, I'm sure other people do, but is a little bit more, I don't know. It's something that I think people don't necessarily think about. In the early days, I'm saying year 1, maybe year 2.
Yeah.
I am much happier to pay off things like global goals and team goals to incentivize us setting up the right process across our go-to-market engine than I am over incentivizing people on individual goals. So an example would be, if I give someone a really good comp plan on an individual quota, they are immediately going to care about, well, what accounts am I going to get? And how many leads am I going to get? And how is the SDR team going to be set up? And what can you commit to me with this or that? Versus if I have some individual incentive, but I also give them a bucket, which is like, hey, you're just on the global number. So then anyone globally closes a deal, you're getting some type of compensation off of that. Now I can experiment and change things up and figure out what is the best setup for long-term scale of the team. And the rep is okay with that, because I've demonstrated that they're going to get paid. Like, you're going to get paid for trying your hardest, doing your best, and being comfortable with the fact that we are creating a process that will work long-term. Now, again, I don't think this scales for years and years and years, but I think very early, it is absolutely the right thing to do, and something I'm already doing at Coda.
It's smart, because you're keeping people's heads in the game, and you're also giving the org optionality.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. We've got a great rep in California. He was the only rep in California. We now have a second rep in California. What does that mean? We need to split up California in some way, form, or fashion. If both of these reps are highly incentivized towards team goals, they're okay with that. They understand that. Not that they wouldn't be if they were both on individual plans. Obviously, they know that you can have more than one rep in California, but it's a lot faster of a conversation. It's a lot easier of a conversation to say, hey, you two need to figure out how you're going to split up this named account list than it is if it is a dog-eat-dog individual comp plan only, right? And again, I think this goes back to connecting your hiring to people who are here for that equity and are here for that team win, and are really a thing we've talked about in the past, are into an abundance mindset, i.e. there's enough for everyone, versus a scarcity mindset of like, I must protect what is mine, because innately, if you're protecting something, you're not focused on growing. And what we need to do right now is grow like crazy, right?
We used to always joke that there'd be like this curse, this bad juju. If like people ever fought over an account, like no chance that deal's closing.
It's called can't divide zero.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, well, that's my word. That's my word for it. Actually, we just had our first employee boot camp. I mean, we've hired. By the way, Kodo is hiring folks across the board. We just had an amazing new hire boot camp in New York City, and one of my slides was just can't divide zero. And it's like fighting over a deal. It just the sales gods get really upset, and then the deal ends up not closing. And here, how much time did you spend on this deal? And all we got for it is $0, which you can't divide, right? I have in our first ROE 2 reps. They can come up with any split they want on a deal, and I will support it post haste. 90-10, 30-70, 50-50, whatever you guys want to do, as long as you are working as a team and you're good with it. And then it says, if you can't make a decision, myself and our SVP of RevOps will make one in 5 minutes. And then we're not talking about it again.
It says that we'll make it in 5 minutes.
I
awesome.
verbally say that, but that is what. Yeah. So it's like, hey, if you guys want to fight, you can come to me and I'll solve your little fight. But it's going to be done in 5 minutes, and I'm already going to be walking out the door to my next meeting. So I hope you won't be upset with how that ends. So I suggest you come up with a split and just tell me about it. And again, those are things that, again, I get they don't scale when you're at 100 million, and you have to have tighter rules of engagement as you get larger. But at this point, like especially in this AI world where the goals we have are just moonshots, we have no time. Anytime we're fighting is time we can't be in front of a customer or a prospect.
Do you have any other early day isms or philosophies?
One of the things about this crazy AI world is like we all have to become experts at AI. And so for my kickoff slides, instead of getting like product marketing to make me a nice deck, I was like, I'm going to make the deck using Gemini's AI slide builder, but I'm only going to allow myself one prompt per slide. So like my background slide, I was like a 50-year-old Asian man in a suit. And then on my family slide, it said I had like 3 redheaded children. So I put that out there though. I'm like, guys, like we gotta push ourselves.
What about the whole where's my stuff?
I mean, I guess that's an early stageism, right? Which is, we talked a lot about the right people to hire.
Yeah.
The people I'm always looking not to have, like if I'm talking to my chief people officer or a great recruiting team at Kodo, they're like, what do you think about him? I'm like, I think he's a stuff guy. He's good. He's great. And what a stuff guy is like they show up and they're like, where's all my stuff? Like, where's my assistant? Where's my, this? And it's like, no. It's just me, you, and HubSpot CRM and a bunch of PQLs that we're trying to figure out how to score. So you came here to be the guy who built the stuff. So then the person in a year can come in and be like, oh, this is so great. You guys have stuff, right? So I think that's we can't have where's my stuff people in that first year. Not that they're bad. Like none of this is someone's good or bad.
It's stage dependent.
Yeah, it's stage dependent, but also those people will drive you crazy early, right? Because you're like, listen, dude, there's all these wood here. There's an axe in the corner. Pick it up.
I'm giving you a machete and a phone.
Start chopping. I don't have time for this, right? So that's definitely something I look to for sure. And I'll give you another one is there's opportunity and problems all around you all day long. And not anything specific to Kodo, just you're building a house, right? You're building something, right? And it's very easy to get discouraged, or it's very easy to feel like, I guess this is just how this will have to be. And one of the things I don't know where I came up with this, but it's like the minute you stop, they win.
Say more.
And they is everything. Like in any challenge you have, the minute you're like, well, this isn't going to change, or we're not going to fix this, you can't let them win. Like they is anyone who's opposing you, or any process that's wrong. Like the minute you stop, they win. You just got to keep at it. Like you cannot be comfortable saying like, oh, this process is suboptimal, but I guess we'll just have to live with it. Because to your point, from your question earlier, once you get to 30 or 50 million, that improper process becomes hard coded into everything you do. And now you won't be able to fix it. So the minute you stop, they win is another one I'm constantly talking about.
Ethan, I want to talk about getting deals done because wins are important early. You've already said that.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on discounting? And is it different at an early stage company when you're trying to just put points on the board versus like an established company with a brand name?
Like the only thing I'm upset about in getting to do this podcast with you is that you are not at Parts Tech anymore, and I can't put an offer that would make a tear come down your cheek in front of you right now. Okay.
He got me to buy his product at my last company.
And I'd love to, like, you would love it. Like your developers would be developing so much faster, CJ. So listen, I love discounting. I've talked about this on other podcasts. Trade dollars for speed all day long. I think if you truly have a great brand and a great product, there are very value-driven ways to drive up your cost or your spend with your first customers throughout your history. Like the greatest thing about SaaS is every year there's an opportunity to win or lose, right?
I love that line.
I just try to get as many customers in the boat as possible because customers give you feedback. Customers give you brand multiplication. Customers give you an understanding of what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And so like I would take a deal right now where I gave someone $3 and they gave me back $2. Like I have no problem with that. Now, listen, I know especially in this crazy new world, there are serious benchmarks you need to hit around growth versus profitability and all that kind of stuff. So I am not saying I am not looking at those or I am not making sure that we're within guardrails that won't really hurt us there. But outside of that, what do you let's go. Like let's move. Let's sell.
What I've always liked about your perspective on it is that like every year there's like this built-in competition period.
Yeah. And you're betting on yourself. I know that's a big thing for you. I know that's a big thing you subscribe to. If your product is really that great and you're building such a great team, I like letting customers win. Like they appreciate that. They become friends. They remember that you did something for them when they asked. And that doesn't mean it's a one-sided relationship. And there aren't times when you need to have asks of them or you need to push back on them. But like, if you're really betting on yourself in that next year renewal period, you should have a great story to tell about why they need to pay more, right? Or buy the new thing, right?
What's it like selling in today's environment? I know all these companies are going from like 0 to 100 million in 6 months.
I've never seen anything like this. And
this is different, right?
It's different. It is the new frontier, man. That's probably one of the things I am loving the most is like, it's like you get up from the minor leagues and you're like, wow, the ball is moving around fast up here.
Yeah.
But I'm already starting to feel it slow down a little bit. And I'm already starting to feel like, okay, I see like an opening to take a shot here, you know? And it really makes you think about like some of the traditional gambits that are used, like competitive trap setting. I love competitive trap setting. But what if this feature release a cadence of all of these companies is so fast that by the time you've taught your sales team a trap, it's already changed.
And just for the benefit of listeners, for all the finance dorks, competitive trap setting, this is like a tool that you teach the team.
I forgot.
Did you just was this part of your trap? I'm in like a mental pretzel right now.
You were like, oh, these guys, he's gone too far.
He's walking me into something right now.
He's gone too far. Competitive trap setting is like when you understand either a strength of your product that your competitors don't have or a weakness that your competitors have that you don't. And you find a very organic way to bring it up every time you're in a new sale campaign. And so it should, when done right, protect you against your competitors and also set you up so that your competitors have to play by your strengths for the entire pilot that you're going into. So basically, you get to spend your entire meeting with the prospect talking about why Kodo is great, and they have to spend their entire meeting with the prospect talking about why they don't have what Kodo has. It's a cruel thing to do. And
that's a Jedi mind trick right there.
It's an art and a science and all those things. But okay, now you're in this AI space. These companies are the thing that allows you to do trap setting is have really great product marketing and really good feedback from product to understand what those things are. But what about in this crazy new world where features are being rolled out so fast that maybe by the time what you understand that competitive trap set is, it's already different. So that's an example of the type of stuff that is in my head right now that I'm trying to process and figure out how to sell effectively. I still think there's room for it, but as an example, that's just something that can be totally different here, right?
You're selling an AI product. Is this a fundamentally different sale to a CFO than before? Like, because I like to joke in the podcast that there's There's no AI budget fairy that like people just magically have like an AI budget now, or is there?
I think at certain level of company there is. Now I would be wary of that budget because I think they're all buying this stuff to then bake off. Like companies are buying multiple technologies to then do year-long bake-offs to decide who's the person I'm going to do.
Are they really? They're buying multiple?
Oh yeah, big time. Big
wow.
time. You're a podcast host now, CJ. You know, you gotta stay ears to the street here. You know,
this is my form of product market research right now.
No, but so I think you're right to say be wary of that budget because I don't know that that's permanent budget, right? That may be budget to evaluate what they should use long term.
It's experimental ARR.
It is. Now, I think especially, and what I was excited about in the developer space is things around code generation, code testing. There's just clear ROI with being able to write more code faster and being able to test and review that code and commit it to production faster, right? And so then, you know, with a CFO, I think there's a very strong message that why this is a smart spend. The challenge is a lot of great companies have realized this. And so you're playing in a very crowded arena, but with an uncommoditized product. And that's a very interesting thing for me that is kind of new to me as well, which is usually when you see lots of competition, the value is that everyone in the market has been educated on that product. The downside is price points have become commoditized, right? In this space, it's kind of the opposite right now, where everyone is still trying to learn and understand what they should make their decision on. But there is a lot of people telling their story of why that should be, which is super exciting.
So what's like the appetite on, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about this time that you sold like 4 guys in a garage, like a ramping 3-year deal.
Yeah.
What's the appetite on committing to multi-year in this environment?
Multi-year is interesting. I am not seeing a lot of appetite. Now, I haven't fully gotten it. You know, again, I've been at Kodo for 5 weeks, so I wouldn't say that I've completely come up with how I want to present. But there's pull for companies to go monthly because, again, the feature set of these products are changing so quickly that, you know, people on the finance team, people that you would probably interface with, the question you'd be asking is like, well, you want me to write this big check for this? Why are you going to come back to me in 6 months and say you want something else? If that's the case, then go monthly, right? And you know, I TBD, but there is definitely a shorter, faster window for how companies want to see these contracts. It's crazy.
Do you think the decision cycle is taking longer though, because people aren't like fully sure what some of the products do?
Potentially, yeah. I'm seeing already these 2 buckets of like the real AI people who have really learned this stuff and know what they're looking for and understand the value props of these different companies. And they're using AI to help with the evaluations. And then, you know, it's like classic crossing the chasm. Then there's a large group of people that are learning, are unaware, are being pushed by maybe board members or investors or bottoms up from people at their company that they need to get comfortable with this. I think in those cases, you're seeing decisions take a little bit longer.
Yeah. Parts tech, a couple board members are like, so like, what's your AI strategy? I'm like, what's your AI strategy? I'm slinging brake pads over here.
It's wild. I had this is just a crazy story, but a young woman babysitting my kids. Me and my wife went out for a nice dinner. I have younger kids, and she's in college, and she's studying to be a speech pathologist. And we were talking to her about it, and she made some comment like, "And there will always be a need for it." And it's like, whoa, like, you know, people are really seeing this as like, what industries are going to be, hey, we're just selling brake pads over here, and what industries are just going to be completely transformed by this.
I think it permeates all the way down to like how people are thinking about school. So I was catching up with my buddy, getting some beers. My daughter's the same age as his son. They're in like preschool, so like 2 years or something out before kindergarten.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, well, we took our son out of this school because it was like so strict, so by the book. And we noticed that like the other school he could go to was way more fun. It was about being a good person, about your values, about building interpersonal skills. He's like, I want him to learn science. I want him to learn math, but I think actually it's rotated towards like, that's going to be more valuable to him by the time he gets to college. I was like, holy shit, he's thinking long-term about that. I feel like I should think about that too.
Yeah. And going full cycle back to the what do you sell on or how is it different?
Yeah.
I think brand and your ability to tell a multiplier story, like will make all of your other products better. Like for instance, NVIDIA CEO Jensen, that's why he loves Kodo, because we're trying to take a tact of we'll work with your environment, we'll be context aware, we'll be headless, right? And not just in the space I'm in, but I think that stuff, if all features are equal, you're going to want to go with the company that delivers, and you're going to go with the company that is thinking of like an all-encompassing strategy, right? That's going to be with you every step of the way. Kind of some of those like old school virtues become more important again, because anyone's going to be able to make an amazing product in 25 minutes using some of this stuff. But who's going to be there with you to make sure it doesn't do anything disastrous to your organization and or help you make the most of it? Like those kind of things, I think, become more important again.
Yeah. Speaking of brand, you were one of like the 5 companies that everybody's changing their name like halfway through this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think there were 2 companies with our former name, Codium, and now neither of them call themselves Codium, which I think is just an example of how crazy this space is. But yeah, I think it was just a little bit of that.
And then there's Windsurf.
Well, that was one of the 2 Codiums.
Yeah. Oh, it was. All right. Yeah. And then wait, there's another. Cursor, right?
Cursor, that's always been Cursor. Yeah.
Oh, we'll cut this part out about names.
Gentle, like
we don't want to talk about competitors in this.
Yeah, look, again, what I just said, I love Cursor. I love Windsurf. Kodo works with both. We're excited to partner with them. Like that is, again, my mentality.
Look at this guy. Wow.
I just don't think competition's going to work here. Things move too fast. I don't know. And I could be wrong. Look, this could be an ice cold take, and I'll look back on this podcast and say I've been here 5 weeks. What was I thinking about? But that's how I'm feeling right now. I don't know. It's exciting times. What a time to be alive.
Speaking of exciting, I want everyone at home to get your popcorn out, because this is the segment we've all been looking forward to. So Ethan and I text all the time about the Wild West that is LinkedIn. Like our back and forth is just screenshots of crazy shit people are putting on LinkedIn. How it's changed since LinkedIn launched.
Yeah. And I think the background. So I think on our last podcast, you asked me like, what's one tool you couldn't live without? And I said LinkedIn. And I'll say this again. I am in awe of LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I am just blown away that LinkedIn threaded the needle. And again, it's this town square for everyone who works, and it's content, and it's job networking, and it's interviews, and it's selling, and it's recruiters. And they somehow pulled it off in a way that it's not that annoying to any, like you all kind of sign up to this social contract that you're going to have to be okay with participating.
Because half of it's diametrically at odds with the other one.
It's crazy. But like, could you imagine doing business without LinkedIn?
No.
I had a great SDR candidate reach out to me yesterday with an amazing LinkedIn message. And on LinkedIn, I introduced him to my SDR leader, and now they're meeting on Monday. Like, what would we have been like? We were like cavemen before LinkedIn. Like, was he going to send me a smoke signal that he wanted to, or reply to my advert that he wanted to work at LinkedIn? I just am blown away by LinkedIn. So I will start with that. And like, I remember getting on LinkedIn, I don't know, back in 2008, like when it first started. And I was like, wait, the people I'm trying to sell to are on here. And there's like a button that I can click to like just talk to. It was like the phone book came alive, right? Like, I don't know. What about you? Like, what's been your experience?
The finance people have always been so far behind on LinkedIn compared to the salespeople.
Yeah, but now, what has LinkedIn done? What would your business be?
It's like a huge component of my career. It's where most of my subscribers and all my podcast growth comes from. Like, I couldn't, like, Twitter or X is like completely dead to me. It doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I'm not an Instagram guy. Nobody's going there for like business advice. So I couldn't live without LinkedIn. But it's like an observation I've made is finance people are super cheap with like their view to like ratio. Sales guys, like, I can always count on Ethan for a comment or a like. Like, he does the homie thing.
It's so much fun. It's so much. I love it. It's just great. They literally have a thing called Sales Navigator, where everyone on LinkedIn has to understand that they're in this database, and salespeople are like, I'm using LinkedIn's product to go at, and you have to be okay with it because it helps you when you need a job, or it helps you when you. So I want to preface that is the case. So with that, all that said, like I got to give a shout out to my guy Greg Cashin, Chief Product Officer at BitSite. He was our VP of Operations, one of my top 10 teammates in my career over at Zero Turnaround. And that's where he and I got addicted to, let's say, the lighter side of LinkedIn, right? Which is
it the lighter side or is this the dark side? Is this the dark arts?
Category. I'll give you categories.
Yeah. Let's do it.
But it started with that. And same thing. We would just send those back and forth. And at a certain point, I forget if it was at Snyk or after you'd left Snyk, me and you started doing the same thing. And it's just people who like I'll come out with one right now. Yeah. It's like people who start things with, I know this is inappropriate for LinkedIn, but I'm not on any other social networks. It's like, whoa. What do you mean? Like, that's not how that works. Like, go sign up for Facebook then. Go get on Instagram. You just said yourself that this shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So that's one. So okay. I love those. Like, I'm all in. I'm all in on that. People who post incredibly dangerous things to show how hard of a worker they are. So it's like a guy on his cell phone on a deck and a giant forest fire is behind him. And it's something like, who would have thought the fires came at the end of Q3? You know what I mean? It's like, dude.
Mindset, grind set.
Yeah. You didn't stay on your deck when there was a roaring forest fire behind you to cold call. Or someone is in a hospital bed and a doctor is about to insert a needle into their eye and they're on the phone. And it's something like, no one said working hard was ever fair. You're like, who is this doctor that let you take this picture? No way. No, I'm calling red flag. This didn't happen, right? So that's another one I love. Fake ARR. I know you love this. Give me fake ARR.
Dude. The e-com businesses and the agencies.
Yeah.
These are all pump and dump schemes, by the way. And they're like, and they all add AI onto the end of it. And they're like,
.ai.
We went, and it's a combination of the transparent building category that I know you love. But it's like, we went from 0 to $10 million in ARR in 1 month. With 0 SDRs and 0 marketing spend. Here's how. It's like, dude, you sell like rubber wedding rings online that are made in China. This is not recurring revenue.
And then it's someone reposted that and is like, I don't know why everyone isn't looking at mirror.ai. And then you dig into that person's profile and they're like a paid consultant that works at mirror.ai and it's like, come on, man. Like you're like, this is hard. It's okay. You don't have to do that. Right. I like the flaming dumpster fire failure, but hey, you should really listen to me.
Yeah.
So like I had to shut green.ai down today. We blew through all of our investment money and had serious churn issues. But here are 7 things you should do from this information. And it's like, I kind of think you should be asking for advice.
You've qualified yourself out of the advice giving.
No, look, everyone fails, but maybe your post should be, what should I have done differently at green.ai? Not weaponizing that failure into you telling me what I should be doing. Because I don't, look, again, you probably know things that will help me out in my career. I don't know if this is the moment that's going to happen, right?
How about the wildly inappropriate, like places to work? You kind of hit on this like in the hospital bed, but like the sad ones, like I remember there was a picture that you sent me and it was like, our co-founder Danny is so dedicated that he took a customer support ticket at his wedding. And it's a picture of everybody celebrating at the wedding and Danny's got a laptop at like the head bride and groom table and he's solving a ticket. I was like, that's the most depressing thing I've ever seen. No one wants
to work there. Danny's terrible. Danny will work you to death. Like That's so bad. Or really depressing, like, are you sure we should be celebrating this? Like, meet George. George has been an SDR for 7 years and knows he will never be a sales rep. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Stop. Like, why? Wait, why?
Why is George catching a stray?
George, you're free to leave. George, you don't have to work there. I swear to you, George, we'll find you another, like, and then two, why will he never be a sales rep? Like, what's going on? Like, maybe this shouldn't be on LinkedIn, right?
Oh, the ones that are like family photos that are over. So it's cool. Like if you have a baby and you put something funny up, like that's cool.
Yeah.
There was one. It was a family Christmas card, and it's the whole family all standing with like rifles.
Yeah, yeah, and it's again not LinkedIn, not what we're doing on LinkedIn, right? What's your one last in this? We talked about this earlier today. Amazing self-given nicknames. Like some guy reached out to me today and it was like, sir, name, first name, last name, the churn doctor. And it's like, who is that like, did you come up with that? Like, did someone give you that nickname?
Yeah. In order for it to be a nickname, someone else has to give it to you.
And what do I do at the churn doctor? like what is this?
Is this covered by insurance?
Yeah, I don't know. Like what are we doing? What are we doing there? Or like Craig Breslow, 90,000 unsolicited connections. Okay. Do I click accept? I think I do. Yeah. I pretty much take everyone into the camp. I don't know about what's your accept, reject.
The follow thing now confuses me because you can follow people or you can connect with them. So like, who am I deep enough to have a true connection with versus just allowing them to follow you? And it's gotten to the point where like you used to be able to be like, let me check who's Ethan's connections are and I need a warm intro. Hey, Ethan, do you know this person? And then it's like, no, I just say yes to everybody.
Chance, right?
Never met that person in my life.
That's the churn doctor.
Yeah. Hey, do you remember the trend of like, my wife left me, here are 10 things that taught me about enterprise sales?
Yeah, terrible inappropriate. Yeah. That's the, like, again, it's like I know this isn't a part of LinkedIn, but I'm on no other social network. So anyway, I'm just here for it. I find it like, it's just, I got the popcorn out. I love it. I'm not mad at it. I'm not criticizing anyone. I want more of it. And it's like this added bonus to what, again, I really seriously think is one of the greatest inventions of modern work is you just get this entertainment lane that is just fantastic. I don't know. It's world class.
It is funny too, because you have investors who are pumping up their own investments.
Yeah.
And then you have the people who work there. Like it's just like this circular thing. And then you have the brands who aren't people. It's just like the confluence of all these things. Some of them aren't even people. Like some of them are like companies interacting with people.
I've also seen, I'm sure you know some of these people with kind of your world, but like, it's like influencer beef.
Yeah.
But it's clear they've spent hours rehearsing how it's going to go. And they're actually like really good friends.
So there are group chats behind the scenes. I'm not in any of them. I was in one for like a little bit and I was like, I feel so empty and soulless being in this.
What is behind the curtain here?
But they all like, they'll share the link and pump each other up. So it's like they're creating this artificial flywheel to all like each other's stuff. You can sniff it out pretty quickly.
And it's usually just a picture of a guy holding a skateboard.
Wait, that's another trend. Just taking a picture of yourself that has nothing to do with what you're posting about.
It's you getting your Doberman Pinscher's haircut, and you're at the thing, and you've got like a dog treat in your hand, and then it's like reaching out high in sales campaigns is challenging. here's 7 things I've learned about how to do that.
Anything else on LinkedIn before we wrap?
We should probably quit while we're ahead.
Yeah,
it's just the best. It is. My wife is like, "Are you on LinkedIn again?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm on LinkedIn," and I actually don't have any other social media sites.
You're that guy.
I love it. I'm all in.
Ethan, if people want to join your company, want to buy your stuff, want to talk to you, where can they find you?
Reach out to me on LinkedIn, man. honestly, I read every message I get. I accept everyone who reaches out to me. Now, again, it's got to be
In the churn
relative.
doctor, did you accept it?
I accepted the churn doctor is in, and I am hoping I get a little Friday night message from him. Like, this is why I reached out to you. But yeah, no, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will get right back to you. We are super excited to bring what Kodo has already done for a large number of, very, very big enterprise customers. The value we've shown them, we're really excited to bring that to the market. And I'm also always excited to learn about new tools and technologies and network, and I get something out of that as well. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Use code Run the Numbers, and he'll give you an amazing deal.
I will give you an amazing deal regardless of what code we put. I'm ready to sell. Let's go. I need customers.
It's always fun to hang out with you, man. Thanks for doing this.
Awesome. Thank you, CJ.
Run the Numbers is a mostly LLC production. Yelling an intro by Fat Joe. Artwork by some AI thingamajig. Podcast and video editing is done by Cleancast at cleancast.io. Nothing said on this podcast is intended to be business or investment advice. It's the sole opinion of me, a guy who feeds his dog too much ice cream and has a history of net operating losses, LOL. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And also check out mostlymetrics.com. That's my newsletter where I explore business models and financial metrics. Thanks for riding with me. Share this with your friends. Peace.